Good day, I am Adrian Atkinson and this is your JIS News for Thursday, July 4, 2024. The government is now in assessment mode as it looks to determine the full scope of damage caused by the passage of Hurricane Beryl. The hurricane, which approached Jamaica's south coast yesterday as a Category 4 system, thankfully spared the island a direct hit. However, the impact was felt in several parishes with reports of heavy winds and flood rains. As Beryl continues to move farther away from Jamaica, the Met Service is forecasting scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms across most parishes up to Friday, with nighttime showers and thunderstorms likely across eastern and south central parishes. The island is expected to continue experiencing morning showers and thunderstorms across eastern and south central parishes on Saturday, with scattered showers and thunderstorms across most parishes in the afternoon and evening. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is applauding first responders and the National Disaster Response Team for their coordination of mitigation measures for Hurricane Beryl.
You have done so far an excellent job. Let me start by saying that, we don't have all the resources that we want. We don't have all the tech that we would want. But the truth is that we have a very good institution in ODPEM. We have good knowledge. We have good experience. Our officers and personnel are well trained and indeed are world class. So whatever shortage in resources we may have, we compensate in our technical capacities and in our commitment, and we make the best of what we have. And that's what we have on display here.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the National Emergency Operations Centre at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management ODPEM on Wednesday. Mr. Holness, who went on a tour of some affected areas today, is awaiting preliminary reports from the team on the full effects of the hurricane. In the meantime, he says the government will continue its investments in ODPEM, communication systems for disaster response, radars and marine vessels, air surveillance and the security forces, among other areas, to increase Jamaica's ability to respond to crises and recover quickly. He says this is part of the government's strategy to mainstream resilience.
So eventually, I think within another 5 to 6 years, we will be at a point where we will have all the latest technology that will help us to be able to truly cover the island, truly get instant updates and be able to respond quickly. So it is a work in progress, but you would get a very high grade in terms of how I see you have performed, and I'm certain how the rest of Jamaica would see that you have performed.
The Minister of Local Government, Desmond McKenzie, is reporting that government's disaster emergency communication system proved effective in coordinating the activities of the National Emergency Management process. The system was developed by the Government of Jamaica in partnership with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. Minister McKenzie says during the passage of the hurricane, it allowed emergency responders to concentrate their efforts in those areas where they were urgently needed.
We saw earlier on where information has been coming into the radio system about events taking place, and we were able to communicate in a meaningful way. For the first time, the organization, the ODPEM, has been placed in this position with the kind of advanced technology that we just saw in operation, and it can only get better and stronger.
Acting Director General of ODPEM, Richard Thompson, explains that this is the first real test of the system and all parties have been grateful for the direct radio communication.
The brigade, the Ministry of Health, Works Agency, you name it, all the players in the process, JDF, police, fire brigade, everybody. Solid waste, RADA, Ministry of Agriculture, everybody that plays a part in the National Disaster Management Framework and response is on that platform.
He adds that the system is not just for use in natural disasters like a hurricane, but the various channels for specific closed user groups also makes it useful during the regular day-to-day operation of these response agencies.
Fire brigade in their regular day-to-day operation, they have it to use, and the other entities. So, it's a game changer. It's a game changer, and we are the only country on this side of the hemisphere. I have something like that where all the emergency providers or all the emergency responders can communicate on a singular platform.
There was a greater response to evacuation notices during the passing of Hurricane Beryl, which signals a shift in the culture of reluctance. That's according to the Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie.
There is a significant improvement this time around with compliance. Areas where we normally really used to get real stiff resistance, we have seen a decline or persons have fully responded.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness accredits citizens' response to the dissemination of timely and accurate information on the projected path and impact of Hurricane Beryl.
All the channels were open, so there's no one who could say they were not aware or they didn't know. Everyone understands and knows. Maybe the expectation was maybe a little bit higher than what we're seeing happening, but that is the best way to get people to be prepared. And I think on that score, we should be judged fairly well.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security says it has an adequate supply of food and hygiene kits to address the immediate needs of persons who are still staying in shelters. This morning, 1,432 persons were confirmed to be in 182 shelters across the island. The ministry dispatched teams to deliver supplies to them. In addition, a humanitarian response team has initiated house-to-house assessments in communities that are accessible and will be providing emergency assistance as necessary. This team is led by the ministry in a collaboration with Red Cross, Adventist Development and Relief Agency ADRA, the Salvation Army, Food for the Poor and other NGOs. They will also be conducting assessments of damaged homes and making recommendations regarding necessary assistance. Persons who have been affected are encouraged to contact their parish disaster organizations. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security's parish offices are open to handle matters related to disaster response and other emergencies. The Jamaica Public Service Company is in the process of conducting damage assessment and power restoration following the passage of Hurricane Beryl, which wreaked havoc on the island's electricity network over the past 24 hours. About 65% of the company's customers were left without electricity as a result of damage to the electrical infrastructure. Director of Corporate Communications of JPS, Winsome Callum, says that while the company will start restoring customers as quickly as possible, it was too soon to say how long it will take to get power back to everyone. Ms. Callum points out that restoration efforts in some areas could be delayed by roadblocks and landslides. But she says the company has been leveraging its smart grid capabilities to facilitate restoration where there is an opportunity to do so remotely and safely. JPS is urging customers with generators and solar panels to ensure that their electricity is not flowing back into the grid, as this could pose serious danger to power line workers and members of the public. The company's restoration plan begins with assessing the damage to the power infrastructure and then carrying out repairs to power plants and main transmission lines. The next step is to restore power to essential service providers such as hospitals, airports, communication systems and water supply facilities. After this, the teams will fix larger power lines serving the largest number of customers and then turn their focus to the smaller power lines serving smaller groups of customers. Operations at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston are expected to resume on Friday, while the Sancton International Airport in Montego Bay reopened at 8 a.m. today. According to a report from the Airports Authority of Jamaica, AAJ, sections of the roof of the passenger pier, including areas where jet bridges are attached, sustained damage at the NMIA. This has caused significant debris to scatter across the airport apron. The runway, terminal and all the facilities remain unaffected. Due to the damage, NMIA will remain closed today while authorities implement necessary corrective and interim measures. The airport is scheduled to reopen at 5 a.m. on Friday. Meanwhile, Sancton International Airport has not reported any major damage and continues to operate as normal. The AAJ has also inspected Ian Fleming International Airport in St. Mary, as well as the domestic aerodromes Tinson Pen, Negril and Ken Jones. Minor damage to some structures was found at these facilities, but the runways and terminals are intact and operational. These airports were reopened at 7 a.m. today. And finally, the Ministry of Health is urging persons to be mindful of their activities in the wake of the hurricane, as dangers may lie in the debris and waters accumulated from the system. Persons are advised to wear water boots or closed shoes when going outside and to use gloves when clearing debris or disposing of dirty water. If you get a puncture wound, such as a nail, stick or a cut, and you have not been immunized in the last 10 years, seek medical attention immediately. Do not allow children to play in the water outside, and ensure that bleach, kerosene and other harmful chemicals are properly labeled and kept out of the reach of children. ADPEM's Acting Director General Richard Thompson is also urging people to be careful of downed power lines.
Down power lines, broken power mains, broken water main, call the authority. You don't go touching power lines and all those stuff.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.